but it's really disruptive to your life. It changes things forever. Aortic dissection strikes utterly without warning, and my whole life changed permanently in a single heartbeat.
My great-grandfather had a dissection. My mum's had a dissection. My sister's had a dissection.
Right.
And, you know, I'm acutely conscious of the fact that, you know, we have the next generation with us here now, and, you know, it just doesn't even bear thinking about.
I definitely just feel like being involved in the charity and these things is genuinely part of the purpose of it now going forwards, and sort of my way of bringing Dad along on the journey of my life a little bit.
So this has been a wonderful, extraordinary 2-day experience, Emily, hasn't it? And
it really has.
You know,
eye-opening.
Eye-opening.
Yep.
And one of the things that you and I have been talking about is the fact that this sort of represents the beginning of something that we would love to see get bigger and bigger.
Yep. It's gaining momentum very quickly already, so I can see good things, yes.
So what are your takeaway feelings from the last couple of
I
days?
didn't know what to expect when I got here. I have to say, I know Graham was great in sort of preparing us, but it still felt a little bit sort of unknown, quite where it was going to go, what direction it was going to go in. And it has been a pleasure and a privilege to meet survivors and family of patients, whether they have survived or not, because we all have this common ground where we have experienced this condition that not many people know about. It's not widely talked about. It's not widely known. It's a tricky condition anyway. It doesn't have a great prognosis, and you know, up until recently, last few years, it hasn't been supported. There's been no central body that has started to share this knowledge and gather people together, and that is what the Aortic Dissection Charitable Trust is doing. And it's collecting people together, and what we, I think, have realised in the last 24 hours is that we all want the same thing. You know, we're dealing with humans here, and we're pack animals. We like human connection, and human connection is so important, especially in times of trauma. And if this is an incredibly traumatic experience for people to go through, both for the patients and for the families. There is a ripple effect. You've got a patient in the middle, and then you've got the ripple effect of how it affects other people around them, and that's family and friends and colleagues, and you know, you name it. You know, the children that are involved in these families as well. Everybody's affected by it in some way. And what we need is connection. We need to be able to connect all of these people together so that they can look after each other and help each other and share that knowledge. Because at the moment we have these little pockets of people all over the country who are feeling isolated and lonely and unsure as to whether or not what they're feeling is normal, or you know, needing some kind of validation or justification for why they are behaving the way they are or feeling the way that they are. And we can provide that. We can do that by having this sort of central body, and the charity is starting to get this ball rolling, and I'm excited about where it's going to go.
I suppose the sum up of all of this is, isn't it? It's good to talk.
Yeah.
It's good to talk, and
It really
this
is.
last couple of days has really been sort of definitive example of that.
Yeah, we need it.
We do.
We need it. We need it for our survival. You know, this is not just a physical. You know, what happened to you? You could say it was a physical thing, but it's not. It's a mental thing as well.
It's huge.
Absolutely huge.
Yeah.
And we need to talk. We need to talk more. We need to connect with other people who are going through similar experiences. Look after each other.
Yeah.
That's what's come out of this.
Yes.
We need to look after each other.
Well, we met originally, didn't we, at Ashton Gate?
We did.
On the walk at the Bristol City football ground.
Yep.
And it's just so great to see you again, Emily, and
Thank you.
again soon, I hope.
Yes,
Yeah.
well, hopefully, yes. I fully intend to be very invested in this charity and doing lots of things with it and for it.
Same, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, our paths will cross.
They will, and Ashton Gate will get bigger.
Yes, it will.
Yeah, events like
because,
that will get bigger.
you know, it was such a great day. Quite rightly, you said earlier that maybe a bigger charity would have filled the stands, but we're still in our infancy.
Yeah.
And I think that the work that's being done already is quite incredible. And one of the big achievements is the endorsement by Stephen Barclay of the resources and the funding to begin to spread the word of information into A&E departments and other points of contact and medical centres who at the moment don't necessarily have this information. It's extraordinary how unknown this is.
Yeah, it's there are certainly a lot of gaps that need filling, and with this kind of intervention at high level, you know, that's going to make a difference. You know, what we're doing here today, making this film, this is going to make a difference. People going out doing fun runs with a T-shirt on with the logo, that's going to make a difference. All of these people can all make a difference just by spreading the word and just by talking about it. And you know, little me can't do very much at a governmental level, but I can certainly do my bit at the bottom, and I fully intend to do that.
Absolutely.
You know, I will carry on. Thank you.
So this last couple of days, Kat, has been quite amazing, hasn't it? The opportunity for all of us to talk together. So what's your sort of takeaway from what we've been talking about over the last couple of days?
I think the biggest realization for me is how lucky I am in terms of access, because I've been offered clinical psychology opportunities, and that's kind of a lifelong thing. Not that I'll have a session every week, but I will always have access to it should I ask to be referred. But that's just not the case for so many people. I think a lot of people, as we spoke about around the table, they have their care, and then they're kind of just left set free back into the wild without much direction of where to go if they're not finding it easy. And I think that what's hit me is that it's really important that there's more access to psychological help, because if I hadn't have had it, I know that I would be in a very different place emotionally than I am today. And I think a lot of people have been missed on that, and that's not necessarily anyone's fault, but it's definitely a gap in healthcare that really needs to be filled.
Yeah, I suppose in my mind I'm summing it up in some ways by saying it's good to talk.
Yes.
You know, 'cause it is, isn't it? And, you know, patient aftercare, I think, is so important.
Yeah.
Isn't it? To have somebody to talk to, somebody that you can trust, a trust in the process in some way.
I think even knowing that you have access to it, just the knowledge of that is quite validating. Knowing that you are going to experience some psychological difficulty after such a life-changing event, and you're not expected to just go back to life and be fine. Just knowing that in itself is quite validating. But particularly talking to yourself and talking to other survivors and family members, that as well is another really validating and what's the word for it?
Validating is I understand.
It just brings you together. Is that solidarity in knowing that your experiences, although they're yours and yours alone, are shared by other people. You might have had different situations, but your feelings, someone else has them too, and you're not alone in feeling like you're lost compared to where you were in life before. And that helps you find your feet again, and it helps you figure out where you are, and then you're able to move forward. And I think, I would hope that in the future there is some signposting for patients to either speak to each other or be given an option to opt into a program or a group for people to come together and talk. I think, it would
That's
be
a
lovely.
fantastic conclusion. But just maybe one more question, and the stories of each of us as we've been telling them over the last couple of days. I mean, your final thoughts about what you've heard from everyone else.
I think it's quite extraordinary that there are such stark differences between us all. I mean, I in particular am a bit of a strange case, being 29 when I had my dissection and being only 8 weeks pregnant. But meeting Tim, he was so fit and healthy. There were no sort of telltale signs. So I think what's another thing that's hit me is that it's not a discriminatory illness.
No,
it's completely
no.
indiscriminate.
Every story is different, isn't it?
Yeah, completely. And there aren't always obvious warning signs, but the ones that are there are quite often missed. So,
I mean, I was walking 5 miles a day.
Well, there you
at
go.
the time that I got mine. So.
I was relatively fit and healthy as well. So it's surprising. We all have some similarities, but equally we're all at very different stages in life, very different situations, and yeah, I'm shocked by that difference, but reassured that we all have those shared experiences and feelings, and yeah.
And that how bonding.
That's the word,
is.
yes. It is very bonding. Yeah, I feel that even in the space of 24 hours, I've made some very good friends here.
Yeah, same.
And that's just lovely. I think it's quite rare to be able to share such difficult experiences with people that you barely know.
Yes.
And not feel awkward about it.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Yeah, well, it's been wonderful. It's been wonderful to meet you, Kat, seriously.
It's been wonderful to meet you
talk,
too.
And thanks for being so open and so wonderful. Thank you.
I can say the same to you. Thank you.
First of all, Wendy, I just want to say how much I've enjoyed meeting you. Really, it's been an honour and a pleasure to spend time in your company. And I think, for all of us, maybe this moment has been so valuable.
Yes.
Because we've been able to bond with each other and talk with each other.
Yes.
What are your feelings? What's your takeaway from the experience this time?
Well, first of all, the amazing thing of meeting other people who have had the same operation, because this is something I've not done before. I've never met anybody who'd had an aortic dissection. So that's been wonderful. The sharing of knowledge and experiences has been great. And as you said, the bond between people, while we've been here, we only came yesterday, but there's quite a strong bond between everybody.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
So you've not talked in this way
No.
then since your dissection?
No, not to anybody.
Have you wanted to? Have you found that you're disappointed that there's no one to reach out to?
Well, people who have the experience, this is the thing. I mean,
Yes.
I have talked to people because I'm a member of the church, etc., and they've been very supportive, and I've shared, stuff with them, and that's been supportive. But
Yes.
there's not been any other support network, no official support network, and I've never met anybody else who'd had this operation.
Yeah. So, this is my sum up, really, of what we've experienced this time is it's good to talk.
Yes.
It's really good to talk, isn't it?
It's so important.
Yeah, certain times it's been very emotional.
Yes.
I've got very emotional. We've all felt very much that, gosh, there's a lot coming out.
Yes.
But it's so valuable, isn't it?
Oh, it is, and I think it's just so helpful to everybody to have the opportunity to share like this.
Yes.
Sharing joy and sharing sorrow or sharing stress, it's all good for us.
Yes, it is. So just finally then, your thoughts about the Aortic Dissection Charitable Trust, because this is our main target, isn't it? It's our main energy force to make change, to introduce opportunities for patients, aftercare and counselling, etc., etc. So what are your thoughts about how things are going from your experience this time?
Do you mean from this week?
For the charity and
charity.
the momentum.
Well, I just can't believe how much the charity have done in just about 2 years. I just think it's amazing, for a charity to have got itself together with so few people with this experience, to have got itself together and able to do all this work and to make so many steps forward. I just think it's absolutely amazing. I don't know how it's happened, because the vast majority of people who are interested in this charity are either people who have had operations and been sick, or they're people who have lost somebody perhaps. And for those people to have been able to get themselves together and produce a charity like this, I just think is just, well, wonderful.
Yeah. And you are now a vital part of the progress of the charity.
Well, I hope so. I hope I'll be able to contribute
absolutely
in many more ways.
Yes. And it's wonderful to meet you, Wendy. Thank you for being here. And onwards and upwards.
Absolutely. And let's hope we will meet again.
Yes.